When we last spoke with Devon earlier this year, Gorfer's Final Gnaw was only weeks away from its release. The movie has since soared past all expectations Devon had envisioned. A lifelong native of Swift Current, Saskatchewan, Devon is a local celebrity. This year, he decided to take his movies beyond his hometown, with screenings in Gull Lake, Medicine Hat, Regina, and most recently Saskatoon. Devon has terrified audiences across Saskatchewan and into Alberta. Perhaps less frightening is his commitment to donate all proceeds from these showings to animal shelters in each city visited. Devon has just finished casting for the silver screen, assembling the largest cast yet for any Dead Prairies Productions movie. With the script finalized, filming locations secured, and a cast in place, Devon is poised to begin filming soon, aiming for a release in mid to late 2025. While Dead Prairies may be a small-town horror movie company, Devon's vision is anything but small town. His big heart and generosity are touching the lives of people and animals across the prairies and beyond. Welcome to the Brewing Fiction Podcast. Anyway, buddy, thanks, Devon, for joining me again today. It's the first day of fall. Did you know that?
I did. Felt like fall a few days ago.
It sure did, yeah. It's actually beautiful out there today. I was going to set up outside. I've got a small kitchen out in my backyard there, and I was going to set up at the bar and just sit outside. I have my microphone stand taken with me. I have my computer out there laying on the bar, and then the train went by, and I was like, no, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I could have edited it out probably, but yeah, I decided to come back inside.
Just more work for you to do.
Just more work, right? Yeah. But of course, you got to enjoy these days now, right? Because it's winding down.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I try to go for extra walks still too before we have to bundle up.
Yeah. Do you have your screen still in your backyard? I saw on Facebook you got this like massive movie screen.
Yeah, the movie screen. I have it in my a box right now, and I take it out when I rent it to different people or decide to show movies in my backyard.
Yeah, cool. Oh, so it's not a permanent thing, you up and down whenever you...
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not permanent. It's inflatable, so if there's any amount of wind, it's moving quite a bit, so...
it's gone, eh?
Yeah, so you have to tie it down. Even then, if it's tied down, it still moves a lot.
All right, Devon, so the second time you've been on the podcast, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself for those who are new to the podcast and missed your first appearance back in, what was it, May, I think we had you on?
Yeah, I think it was before the release of Gorfer's Final Gnaw.
It was.
My name is Devon Oman. I'm from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. I've been here since I was a little baby. I'm born and raised Swift Current.
Yeah.
And I am a animal lover, which I think a good chunk of everybody knows. Even if they don't know me personally, I think they know from my donations to SPCA and me walking my dogs all the time. A huge horror fan, and it shows with my tattoos and my horror movie shirts and my Facebook posts. It's very obvious that horror movies are my number one thing. I do filmmaking with Dead Prairies Productions, and I've been doing that since 2012, and that's kind of generally my life.
Awesome, buddy. Yeah, very well known around Swift Current. There's a lot of local hype right now for you as well. So I thought I'd just run through a couple things, Devon, before I let you be modest and try and sidestep some of this stuff. So I'm just going to throw a few things out here for our listeners, and then we'll get into the podcast. So before I do, your dog Barry's birthday is coming up on Tuesday. Is that right?
Yeah, Barry's birthday is on Tuesday. Birthday. It's official birthday too. Like most of my other dogs I rescued, and I didn't really know their birthday. So whenever I adopted them, that was like basically their birthday. Nice. But yeah, Barry actually has a birthday, and it's this Tuesday, and it's the same time we're showing Gorfer's Final Gnaw in Toronto at Son of Terrible Fest. So it's cool that it tied in with his birthday too.
There you go. And how old is Barry?
Barry is turning 5, so he's still
Still
a young pup.
still a pup. Yeah. Happy birthday, Barry. All right, buddy. So, a couple other things. 2024 has been a big year for you, right? You were asked to be a celebrity judge at Ribfest this weekend, right? You got to be known in the community. So, celebrity judge at Ribfest. You got 3 podcast appearances, starting with this one coming up in the next month. You've just announced your newest film. You're kind of finishing touches on getting ready to film it, which we'll talk about. You've been nominated for the Community Impact Award of 2024 with the SCBEX of Swift Current. So that's basically an award offered by the District Chamber of Commerce. I'll let you share the news on the donations, multiple donations over the past year and years. Back-to-back sellout of Gorful's Final Gnaw showings, multiple film festivals coming up, and well, I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of stuff, but that's just some things that just popped out in the last little bit. I want to congratulate you, share with everybody, and to get into our podcast. So, congrats, man.
Thank you so much. That's pretty much, you nailed it all there.
Well, it's easy what you can do when you troll somebody's social media, right?
I'm easy to track down, I think.
Right on. No, it's a pretty exciting year, though, right? Why don't you just share how you've been feeling about 2024?
2024 has been a wild adventure. Like every year since, like, I'd say Gorfos 2 or even Files Spirit, I think between those two, noticed a change in our films and our growth, like in people knowing who we are. It's been interesting. Each year we're like getting bigger and bigger, breaking down these walls, breaking down these goals and dreams that I never thought was possible.
Yeah.
Barry has joined us now.
Hey, Barry.
Hey, Barry. But yeah, it's been a crazy year for Dead Prairies Productions. Things that I never thought were achievable, even like I never knew we would have a sold out of showing of our movies in a different city. Like Swift
Right.
Current,
Yeah.
a lot of people know us. Regina, there's a fair amount of people that know us, but a good chunk of people that showed up for the showing, they've never watched Dead Prairies Productions. So there's a lot of new faces. So a lot of pressure at that time because I was like, oh, I hope they like this movie and I hope they understand it's like $200.
Right. That's pretty big to be able to step outside of Swift Current. Again, you are very well known around town, but now you're showing in Regina, Saskatoon, Toronto.
Like Regina, we had not long ago, and
Yeah.
then I'm hoping we can get the Saskatoon here very soon, get all
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're doing stuff in Medicine Hat as
Medicine
well. And
Hat.
yeah, it's Gas City Entertainment Expo, so it's kind of like a Comic Con, and we have a
Yeah.
merchandise table there, so we're selling merch from our previous movies or shirts and hats and hoodies and all that kind of fun stuff.
Awesome. Raising money. All right, buddy. Let's do a little bit of fun here. I like to do Fast Five just because it keeps us tied to the podcast. I'll try not to repeat anything from the first podcast. When you do your writing, like writing your scripts or planning, that kind of stuff, do you use a pen or a keyboard?
When I first started, I was only using a pen.
Pen and paper. Yeah.
That was pretty much my starting, and I wrote the script all on paper
Okay.
from start to finish. Right now, what I do is I write down brainstorming ideas like death scenes or stuff like I need to have this in the movie. So I jot them down on my paper, but I don't write the scripts on paper anymore. I just type them up on my computer. So
Okay. So both.
yeah.
All right. A script obviously doesn't happen overnight, but do you like to go on writing sprints or is it more of a marathon writing session?
It depends on my mood, to be honest. There's some days where I'm like get in this groove and I actually don't stop until I start feeling that little bit difference. Then like, okay, I need to stop or else I'm going to start losing that creativity.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely feel it and I know when to stop. And if I get in the groove, I am continuing until I feel a difference of energy.
Cool. And a lot of your work, is it daytime or nighttime?
Ooh. This last movie I did, I'm writing for Silver Scream. Most of it was in the morning or afternoon, I'd say. I even wrote some scenes before I went to work.
Oh, right. Well, it's funny when it's in your mind, right? You got to get it out or get it on paper,
Exactly.
right? Yeah,
Or even like the night before I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh, I need to wake up in the morning and write this.
yeah,
So then as soon as I get up, get my coffee, I run downstairs and start typing stuff. Or after finishing walking with Barry,
yeah. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke or Pepsi. Oof. Can I say nothing? Can I say Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, you can. You
Okay, I'm gonna
can.
Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper for life.
Hey, have you tried that Coke Oreo?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that try all these
Try
kinds
something
of
new.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried that Fanta Beetlejuice one. I've
Okay.
tried the Oreo. The Oreo one was not bad, but I find it needed more of that Oreo taste to it.
My son is a huge Oreo cookie eater, so he hasn't tried it yet, but I expect there's going to be a bottle pretty soon.
They're I've seen them like all over the gas stations now, and I think
Yeah.
Walmart even has them now.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how long they'll be around, but I'm sure we can pick one
Oh,
up.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, beer or wine?
I've never been a beer drinker. I've had a few, but it's not my forte.
Nice.
And yeah, people are shocked that I'd rather drink wine.
All righty. So that was Fast Five. Thanks for sharing that, buddy.
No, that's awesome.
Why don't we just jump right into the interview here? And again, I don't want to bore our listeners, so we're going to talk about some different things. And obviously, we're probably going to go off track too, because that's just what I like to do. So,
Depends on the topic, right?
right, it could go on and we just go from there. How do you stay motivated to do what you do? Obviously, the filming of the movies, but just everything you do around it. I mean, merchandise, filming, promoting. How do you stay motivated while you still work a full time job like most of us do?
How to stay motivated. So I try to balance my life out so I can actually enjoy my like downtime as well, like with my dog or walking or watching movies. And I started to play disc golf recently too. So
Mm-hmm.
I find it's important to get that balance of social and fun, but I also do filming and all that and working. So I find if I just wrote and filmed, I'd probably burn myself out.
Right.
I would lose fun. I lose that motivation. I don't know. I would be worried that I'd lose that love for filmmaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and like another thing is hitting new goals. Say, hey, we're going to a film festival, or we're going to Saskatoon or Regina for a movie. Things like that, hitting new goals motivate me to push harder. Another thing too that motivates me is hearing the love and support of people liking our films and saying like amazing things about these films. So that also motivates me.
Yeah. For sure. Can you share, say, one of the most challenging projects you've worked on so far? Maybe it was just the scene you were shooting or the whole film in general. Why don't you share one of the most challenging times you've had?
Okay. So this could be like a two-parter.
Okay.
I'd say like Zomageddon 1 would be in that list just because it's one of our first films, right? So we were
Right.
learning
Yeah.
our cameras.
Mhm.
Yeah, our cameras were different back then, and our battery life was way shorter. So there'd be times where the battery dies so fast, and we
Yeah.
had to sit around and wait for it to charge. Nowadays, I have this bigger camera with a better battery that lasts like a full day, if not longer. So I don't have to run around and charge things, wait around. So
Yeah. Yeah.
us learning filming and having the batteries die on us quicker was a bit of a challenge.
Gotcha.
And we had zombies too. Like we had so much zombies in Zombie franchise. We had to do a lot of makeup, so we had to wait for some zombies to get ready. And I have no talent at all for makeup, so I give all props to all the makeup artists that have worked with us too.
Right. How did you manage to, with Zombageddon specifically and the amount of makeup? Got a small budget, right? You keep things $200 or less. That's kind of the average. How'd you manage that? How'd you keep all that in line?
So the first two movies of Dead Prairies Productions is our biggest productions and budgets, I'd say.
Okay.
Zomgen one, I think we had about $800, and we did fundraising for it. We sold these paper brains at Walmart that gave us a fair amount of money actually to make a film.
Okay.
but yeah, like our first two films, we were a bit higher than $200. Obviously, it was our start films. So like, I find also when we do films over the years, I keep collecting props or I have makeup left over for the next year, kind of thing, right?
Right, right.
Or blood for the next year. So it's nice. It cuts down the cost sometimes. But
Gotcha.
then I also like, oh, I need a new prop. I need to buy this new prop. So then it goes back up. But I can
Hmm.
use that prop probably multiple times over and over. So I think that helps keep the budget a bit lower.
Right.
Um, I usually throw on Facebook saying, hey, I'm looking for a tent. Hey, I'm looking for this prop. Some people are very generous and they're like, hey, I got this. I'm going to just throw it out anyways. Do you want it? I look around my house. I try to find props in my house. Marketplace, I try to find some cheap stuff too, just to keep everything lower budget.
Cool. So going back to the challenge, obviously your camera dying. Is there anything else that you can tell us about what went wrong on set one time?
Um, well, the obvious answer is like weather. It's hard to predict the weather with filming, especially in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, yeah.
One day it's blizzarding, one day it's super sunny out. If you go back and watch Road Trip, Cursed Tales, we filmed a Santa movie, which was in winter, but then there's scenes during that movie where the snow starts to be less and less or like it's more just because we film different days.
Right.
And one day there's a huge snow pile, the next day it's sunny, so it melts everything, and we can't even control that, right?
Right, right.
It's
Yeah.
especially challenging for our budget, right? We can't just wait for another month to go film an extra scene or whatever.
Yeah.
There's other things that went kind of wrong. One was not really Dead Prairies Productions film, but it was a Halloween fan film. I'm not sure if you guys know the Halloween franchise with Michael Myers.
Yes.
So one year, I started to make this fan film about Michael Myers Halloween with just my friends and
Yeah.
did it for fun. It wasn't for really showing in public, really. So we made that film, and there's one scene where I was Michael Myers, and I had to. The girl was crawling on the ground really quick, and she's trying to kick me off from grabbing her, right? So I was like bending over trying to grab her leg, and then I lost balance, and then I fell, and my all my weight went onto my thumb, and it bent my thumb backwards.
Mm.
I thought it broke my thumb. I felt pain shoot up all my arm. I tried to finish the scene as much as I could. Didn't want to show that I was hurting. I tried to turn her over and I had to lift her off the ground up against the wall with the hurt hand. So I tried to grab her by her neck area and lift her, but I couldn't get her off the ground. I like had no power at all. So then after that, I just dropped to the ground. I remember being in pain. I was like, oh, this is the last scene. This is the last scene to do. I was like, this sucks. So I
Oh,
was like, I took a shot of whiskey back when I had more drinks. I don't drink really anymore at all.
okay.
I took a shot of whiskey to help the pain a bit. And I finished the scene. My two actors were like, you maybe should go to the hospital to make sure it's not broken. Um, I went to the hospital and it was very heavily sprained, so it was pretty banged up. And then a Dead Prairies Productions film, I'd say there's been a few close calls. I would say,
Yeah.
usually with me because I usually try to do the stunts. That way, no one else gets hurt.
Right.
Um, I had to do a scene in Gorfers too, where I was on the ground fighting with this person, and then the editor girl came behind with like a dollarama bucket, like a cheap dollarama bucket, like a pot bucket,
Hmm.
and she hit me in the back, and she let go of the bucket, so it flew away, and I did a flip at the same time when she threw the bucket, and I accidentally landed on top of that bucket on my back, and it did not crush the bucket. I thought a dollarama bucket would just like fold, but no, that thing stayed up. My back went like a twist.
Folded.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so I just laid there for a bit, and I was like, I think I need some time to get back up. Yeah, like stuff like that happens, and I have no one to blame for that. I take the risks for that,
Okay.
and stuff happens, right? Like that
It
was
does, yeah,
very unpredictable.
yeah. Well, yeah. If only you had a stunt double,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
There's a joke actually. I don't think much people know about it. Me and Jared Johnson, he's a big dude, way taller than me, way bigger.
Yeah.
Looks 10 times different than me. And me and him joke about how he steps in to be my stunt double all the time because we're totally
Gotcha.
opposites. So
Gotcha.
I think there's quite a bit of joke between me and him. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. I noticed the last couple of films you've been reaching out to local artists, right? What role, first of all, what role does it play in your films, and how do you choose the soundtrack?
So for the soundtracks and music for Dead Prairies Productions, Zombageddon was our first one where we brought in bands, and they were from like Alberta, Saskatchewan. We even had a UK band as well,
Oh, wow.
and it was a cool, fun time. And then we had another band in Redneck Betty's called the Midnight Rose, and we decided to take a break from that for a while, which I don't know why. Gorfers 2 is when I started to bring back Saskatchewan artists. So I post
Right.
on our Facebook page saying, hey, we're looking for Saskatchewan artists. And I didn't know what kind of feedback we would have. Gorfers 2 had a few people that submitted their music.
Yeah.
And then we did Vile Spirit, and we got more bands interested. And then we did Killer Balloon, which got even more. Swift Nightmares 2 got even more. And then it just keeps on increasing every movie we've done.
Okay.
And it's cool because like there's bands that are like comedians, there's ones that are like hip hop, there's one rock, metal, jazz, country, like all over kind of stuff, and I'm willing to listen to them all. And you just never know if they're going to work in the scene or not.
Right. So if you have submissions, you'll listen to it and do exactly that. Say, yeah, I think I need something that's rocking for this scene, or I need something a little more mellow for that scene, and that's how you choose it.
Basically, yeah, there's a weird situation one time where before I started filming this Killer Balloon movie, I had a scene in my head already, and I had the song in my head ready for it because this band submitted their music the movie before. And I was like, you
Okay.
know what? That might actually work out better for the next movie. So I was like, oh, okay. So the whole year waiting for Killer Balloon to start, I had this scene in my head. I had the music in my head. And once I got the scene finished, I put the music on top of that scene. I was like, oh, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work. That sucks. That's not good because I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
And thankfully, another band I had their music, and it connected quite well for that scene in the movie. I can't say because it'll spoil,
Fair.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild how in my head I pictured it perfectly, but once I got the film done, put the music on top, it just didn't fit. And there's another situation too where we had this other guy submit his music for Swift Nightmares 2, and it just didn't fit with the movie. But I liked his song, I liked his music, and I'm like, you know what? I think that'd be perfect for Gorfer's Final Naw because it has a bit more of the darker sense of humor to it. And I'm like, this is perfect for that. And it did. It worked out great for that.
Okay. Yeah, I think we take it for granted sometimes when we watch movies. It doesn't matter if we're talking low budget films or if we're talking blockbusters. You take for granted how important the movie and the music have to gel.
Oh,
So,
100%. I keep on telling people all the time, like, especially when you watch a movie and you're like, you know what? I remember that song from that movie. And you know that movie did a good job if you can think of a song. Like Devil's Rejects has like Leonard Skinner's song. And everybody thinks of that movie because of that.
yeah, definitely. Do you think you've got a song out there that people know from your movies?
I think so. I think like more people watch it, they're gonna be like, there's a few bands and a few songs in our movies. I think that caught a few people's attention,
Yeah.
and I try to give much credit as possible to the bands. I put them on my end credits. I put them on social media multiple times.
Right, right.
I even have a photo album on our Facebook page saying artist. So you can go through all those and it'll say what movies these artists have appeared in. And you can check out the movie or if you like that song.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
it's cool.
pretty.
Yeah, I think so.
Have you ever had any criticism of your work? And if so, how have you handled it?
Um, I think everybody gets criticism. That's the thing. Like I remember when I first started, I got criticized for a few movies or few ideas I had, and it was a bit more harder to chew back then when you're still like learning and you're like you don't know how to take it. You could be like, "Oh man, that's crappy." Um even I was at the bar one time and my this guy asked this girl cuz she had a Dead Prairies hat on or like a Zomageddon hat, and this guy was like, so what's that? And she's like, oh, it's like the one that does the movies around town. He did Zomageddon. And he's like, oh, I seen that movie. It's crappy. I heard it. And I was like, no, 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 no. I'm right there. I was like, I'll just ignore that. I was like, yeah, that's fair. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But over the years, I think I got more used to it. And I try to take that negativity sometimes and use it for the next film.
Nice.
I try. Like sometimes like some people's negativity is just them being negative for no reason, or they're just I like when people are negative and they can actually say why. Like,
Constructive,
yeah,
yeah.
constructive stuff, right? Where like, okay, maybe shorten down your starting opening credits, or you need more audio, you need more music, you need different gore, like things like that. I try my best because we are still on a strict budget. We have a strict crew. We have a very skeleton crew.
Yeah.
So there's only so much I can really do, but I do take everybody's negative and positive as much as I can. Um, I know that our movies are not everybody's cup of tea for being cheesy or low budget. And I find if everybody liked the same thing and was positive about everything, I think it'd be boring. I
Agreed. Yeah.
find people need to like their own thing. Like I don't like country music, but same time, I know that people love country music, and I will still listen to country music for my movies if it fits the scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know people are not horror fans, and that's fine. That's their opinion and that's their choice, right? And yeah, I think it's cool that everybody's so different on their views of music and movies and books and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Why don't you give some advice for any aspiring indie filmmakers who are out there? You started way back in 2012. I'm sure you've learned a ton. Why don't you share a little bit of advice?
So yeah, like I started filming and when I was a kid, even with my dogs and action figures, my brother, family. So way, way, way back. Then Dead Prairies Productions hit. I did some YouTube stuff. I find my advice is to just keep going. Like you will always face those crappy times and the good times. You'll have people being negative for no reason. You'll have people being negative for good reasons. You have people that are being going to be positive to you. You're going to have people that love your work. I know a few times that I thought this is it. This is the end. I thought I reached my peak a few times, and I keep surprising myself with new achievements, new goals. And my main thing is if you're having fun with the film or fun with art, fun with music, whatever you're into,
Yeah.
and that's the main thing. Like as long as you're having fun with it, it's something that you're passionate about, keep on going.
Keep going. Great advice. Yeah. And that goes for anything. Like you said, I've had a little bit of a slump where the podcast overtook time sitting down writing, and I was afraid that it was going to turn me away from the podcast because I was so into my writing and now I can't seem to get to it. So I took August off, went on vacation, just kind of refreshed, and now I'm back motivated for both the podcast and the writing. So keep going, just like you said. Great advice, man.
I think so. Like that's my opinion. I think everybody else will have different opinions about it, but yeah, just keep on going.
Yeah,
You'll always meet people that are negative. You'll get people that are positive. So
yeah,
do your thing.
yeah. Are there any misconceptions you think people have about it? I'll be first to admit that the first time I interviewed you, I wasn't sure of what scope to even talk to you about. But do you think that anybody has any misconceptions that, we can clarify?
Like, I find people think it's like film, shoot, you're done. That's it. That's it. Very quick process. It still does take time, even though it may look more cheesy. The CGI might look off, but it all still takes time. The actors are, you might think they're not a great actor. They might seem a little bit cheesy with the lines to you, but
Yeah.
they're still trying their best. And I'm sure they're having fun on set still. The crew is also smaller on independent films
Hmm.
compared to like the bigger Hollywood films. So I'm sure a lot of people are doing like double duties even or triple duties, or they're doing like all everything on set.
Right.
So yeah, no, like I respect for people that are still doing indie films, and even though the film might come off as cheesy looking, I know how much work has been put behind that, and their budget's higher than ours even. So
Yeah.
I give them credit, and I give them credit for every movie basically. I think big ones, small ones, all that stuff, it does take time, and it's quite a big process.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's nice if people can have that background vision of what happens. Like you go to Universal Studios and go on a movie set, and the scope of a Hollywood film, for me, that is something that I don't think you can fathom until you see it. No different for watching you guys film. I'd be surprised, and a lot of people would be surprised. And holy shit, this, as you label it, cheesy film required that much work.
Yes, exactly. Like, even our budgets are taking a fair amount of time. Like, people don't understand sometimes that editing is long. Like,
Hmm.
editing my cheesy $200 budget films are still a process, and I watch it completely over and over and over. So, and I've been on different movie sets too. So, like, I've been on the bigger budgets and I've been on the smaller budgets,
Yeah.
and it's just cool seeing the difference of crews. Like, you got the small crew, and then you got the bigger budgets have like the bigger crew. They have like multiple cameras. They have a person dedicated just for bringing out snacks or whatever, right?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you go to a movie set when you were in LA in this past year? I think you went on a trip down there, right?
LA, I wish I went on a movie set, but I actually went and visit the house from Halloween series. I visited like the hedges, the famous hedges from the Halloween series. I had to go check that stuff out. I wish I could check out even more, but
Yeah, yeah.
I had a lot going on in LA. I went to different haunted houses. I checked out different concerts. So it was a fun
Okay.
trip.
Yeah, nice. So it wasn't work related. It was just a casual trip. It wasn't related Dead Prairies at all.
Oh, no Netflix deals or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So you're pretty active on Facebook. You use it for promoting your films, also for casting calls, right? And as you shared a little earlier, music. Um, how does that all work for you? Is it just you throw it on there and wait for responses, or do you always have a little bit more of a plan in mind?
So yeah, like social media platforms, I use them all. I use Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it,
Right, right.
and TikTok. And I find it's important to do all social media platforms for advertising events or advertising your merchandise, just because some people don't use Instagram, some people don't use Facebook, some people don't use Twitter or whatever,
Right,
right? So it's like I see a difference in each platform where I think some reach farther, and I think Facebook is a bigger one.
right.
But same time, I'm thankful to have the other ones too, because I've met some cool people through those, and I've also had people buy stuff from us from like Twitter or Instagram.
Mhm.
I have people discover us through those different platforms for events, even. So, like, it's important to have all those social media platforms, even though I know some people might not want to use them all because it's a lot of work,
Yeah, yeah.
but you can reach different people from different platforms. You can sell out merchandise. You never know. You just never know who you can meet through those
Right.
platforms too, that could make you go do a showing in Regina or Saskatoon or wherever, right?
Okay, yeah. I know Facebook is a struggle with their algorithms, so I think it's good to have alternative outlets just in case. Facebook is the biggest, maybe because it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest. So of course your followers are obviously more.
Yeah, I find Facebook is a bigger one for us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how I troll you. So just so you know.
um, for the casting part, I would say a lot of it's with scheduling because it's like volunteer based. That's what people have to understand too. We're not getting paid for any of this. This is all going
Yeah, yeah,
towards the SBCA. So a
right,
lot of it's scheduling. So people, they do have their social life, they have their work. So it's harder to balance around sometimes people's schedules. And if say if somebody's super busy, they might not get a bigger role because it's harder to work with that person with three other actors or actresses, right? So like I tried my best to like put them in a schedule that might work better for them. That way, hey, they're super busy, but they'd like to be a part of the film. So they might have like a cameo or a shorter role. And
fair. Yeah,
we're starting to expand outside Swift Current 2 now with like Regina, Saskatoon, Medicine Hat. So I put that in consideration too, that they have to travel down. And I'm like, what if I need them longer than a day?
right,
And
right. Yeah,
so there's a lot in my head that like, I don't want them to lose money on just coming down to film. So I try to make it best for them as well.
fair.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And then I got my solid actors that
Right,
have
your core. Yeah.
my core group. I'd say that
Hmm.
they've been there a lot for me. They've been on set all the time. They show up. They save my butt a few times. There's been a few times where people drop out the night before or the day of.
Oh no.
Example, like Corey Schimmel, he saved my butt so many times for people dropping out the night before or the day of. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey Corey, would you be interested in doing this?" And he's always like down for it. And I got a few people like that where like, "Hey Kelly, you want to be doing this role?" And she's like, always good to go. Or Jared took on a few roles randomly too. So I was like,
Yeah.
it's cool to have some of those people that are like, no matter what, they'll take it, and they're always gonna be there for you.
Make it work. Yeah. Good. I read you had the most interest with this last film that I'm going to ask you to talk about here right away. But you've had a lot of interest, right, through social media. Your most interest yet? Is that correct?
It's been it's been a cool process. Like we go way back into the 2015, 2016 era, or even farther, and we were getting people interested in acting, but sometimes we actually had to go out and approach people about this too.
Mm-hmm.
And when Vile Spirit, Killer Balloon, Stiff Nightmares 2 started up there, we started to see more and more people reaching out to us to be in it. And yeah, even Gorfer's Final Naw, we had a fair amount of people. And this one, even more, which I wasn't sure. Like, it's cool because I thought Gorfer's Final Naw was a big one. And this
Yeah.
one's already gaining a lot of attention, this Silver Scream, which excites me because I'm going to have a lot of new faces in this film. I'm going to have some people that are returning to this film. And it's neat to see that, hey, we're going to go to a bar when we're younger and like, hey, you want to be in a film, and that, to like people reaching out to us now.
Yeah, that is cool. I guess that's just organic growth that happens with anything when you're out there and you're well known and you get bigger. Like you said, you're finding your movies are more far reaching now, so you are going to obviously get more interest. Why don't you share a little bit about where you are with the Silver Scream right now? Tell us what it is, only what you can. Obviously, I know it's still early in the stages, but it's a combination of three short stories, and yeah, why don't you tell us about it?
So the Silver Scream, I had an idea way back when we did Escape Room in Gull Lake at the Lyceum Theater called the Silver Scream as well.
It was actually because when I saw that Silver Scream first, I was like, okay, wait a minute, am I seeing an old post about your escape room? I didn't quite make the connection there, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I did it on purpose. I didn't really tell anybody really.
Okay, here we
I
go.
had ideas. I'm like, you know what? It'd be kind of fun to base it off the escape room a little bit.
Okay,
And the best thing is the escape room had these posters in it that are all fake. They were about the look who's killing, and there's like the snowman, and then there's gnomes of the dead. We had those fake posters in the escape room for the Silver Scream.
yeah,
And I was like, I would love to make those films, but I don't think they're gonna be worth a full length film. So I was like, I wonder if I could put them in like the short film of the Silver Scream.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little fun Easter egg for people in the escape room. I didn't tell anybody. So
Yeah, yeah,
like a few months later is when I kind of like, hey, whoever went to the escape room knows kind of what is in the future for Dead Prairies Productions. Kind of hinted,
yeah.
and people, yeah. So I used the fake movie posters back then as the short films in the Silver Scream. And yeah, the Silver Scream is gonna be the wrap up story. It's gonna be the one that connects all these short stories together. The original title is like just a plain Killer Snowman title kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, I need to change that up. I'm not a big fan of the title.
Okay.
So now it's called Frosty Vengeance because I think that's way more funny. And it deals with a snowman out for revenge. I won't say too much about it yet.
Right.
And then Look Who's Killing is kind of play on words of Look Who's Talking with
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that movie with the talking baby back in the day with John Travolta, Christy Alley. So I was like, that'd be kind of a fun title. Just put Look Who's Killing. And that's going to be about an evil doll. It's going to be inspired by From Dusk to Dawn and Child's Play.
Chucky. Yeah.
And yeah, Chucky. Chucky's
You love
Chucky's
Chucky.
comment on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one is called Gnomes of the Dead, which is zombie gnomes basically coming back from the grave or the ground.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're all going to be pretty different and quite out there, I'd say.
So the movie name is The Silver Scream, and then the three
Yep.
titles, I will say subtitles. Okay. Yeah, I
Yep.
seen different titles over the last few weeks, and I was like, okay, I wanted to make sure I got clarification, and now I did. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So the Silver Scream's the main one, but the other
Gotcha.
ones will be inside the movie. So it's a movie inside of a movie. It's Inception kind of stuff.
Gotcha. How far along are you? Are you ready to start filming? Have you started filming yet?
No filming yet.
Okay.
Basically, I have the scripts just about finalized. I got the first draft done a while back, and now I'm putting like the final touches on the scripts.
Yeah.
I'm very close to getting most of my actors in it too, so that's pretty exciting. I'm hoping to film after October is when I'm starting, and
Okay.
October is quite a busy month for myself and Dead Prairies Productions, so I don't think we're gonna have time to do any filming until spooky season's done.
Right. Yeah. Okay. If you're filming after October, when do you expect a release?
Oof. Um,
Or can you not tell that this early? Like, does it take, like, is there a standard time that you like to set up for your movies, or it is just based totally on what happens and what goes on?
Basically, it just whatever happens. Because like in my head, I was like, I know I could probably reach like June maybe, but I was like, you never know. I could run in problems. I could have people quit on me or the weather or because I have to wait for snow for Frosty Vengeance.
Of course.
And for Gnomes of the Dead, I need actual springtime probably, unless I can get my butt moving and film it before winter. Yeah, it might be a longer process because there's a lot of short films in this one.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot going on. Like I put a lot in these films, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know how this is gonna work. And yeah, so right now I'm trying to picture how the gnomes are gonna come back to life. I'm trying to picture how to do some certain death scenes because right now I say this has the most graphic, most detailed death scenes. And yeah, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but
Okay.
I'll get to there when I get to filming.
Fair. Okay. So I would think 2025, but there's no real confirmed date.
Yeah, I'd say around that June, maybe September mark.
Yeah. Okay. Summertime. What impact do you hope films to have on the audience? So obviously, do you want to entertain? I mean, that's what you do, right? But what do you hope your films convey to people?
So this year, I started to question myself if I can do movie showings outside of Swift Current. I've always done mostly in Swift Current, and I was like, could I achieve more? And I'm like, you know what? I thought Gorfer's Final Gnaw was a well done film, and it turned out really fun, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This film needs to be seen by more people.
More people. Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to try to take it on the road. And I submitted to different cities. I was like, you know what? We're doing this film. We had it at Swift Current. It's sold out. We're doing it as a nonprofit to animal shelters. And I told that to different cities too. As like, if we show the movie here, I want the money to go towards your animal shelters because it
Right,
makes
right.
more sense to help out different animals in different cities. The merchandise will always stick with Swift Current, obviously, and the premieres will always be in Swift Current or surrounding, like it'll be in that area. It
Yeah,
won't.
yeah.
I will always try to keep the premieres in this general area.
Fair.
Um, but yeah, if we do showings after the premiere in Regina, Saskatoon, or wherever, Winnipeg, Toronto, I would like to have those ticket sales go towards their animal shelters to help out their animals. So my goal is to go different cities, help out different animals while doing things that I love doing, and that's making fun, cheesy horror films.
Awesome. Yeah, and it was pretty successful in Regina, right? You did over $1,000 donation to their shelter, I think.
It was, yeah, I was blown away with that showing. That made me so excited, and that pushed me even farther, I think.
Yeah.
Um, we're so used to Swift Current, and it was a whole new setting for us. I was like, I'm not sure if people are going to show up for this. It's a long weekend. There's so much going on in Regina compared to Swift Current. There's
Right.
always events happening,
You're
and
always competing with something else. Yeah.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
was like, it's a lot more of a challenge. And so I only printed off half the tickets because, like, if we can get half, that's even cool. That's a cool accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I sold out of the half of the tickets. I was like, holy moly, I'm gonna have to get more. So I got more.
Yeah.
And the week leading up to the film, I got messages daily saying, hey, do you have tickets? Hey, do you have tickets? The day we went up on the road trip there, we had people text messaging me or sending me messages on Facebook or Instagram. And I was like, okay, guys, before we go into the restaurant, I need to like start calculating how many people are coming that are buying tickets right now.
Yeah.
So I had to recount the tickets and all that. And we only had a few tickets left at the door, and we sold out, and they had to bring out folding chairs to
Wow.
fit more people. I was worried about breaking the fire code, but
Right.
thankfully we didn't.
Well, that's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what do we do if we do? Like,
Yeah.
what happens if we have to turn people down?
Well, yeah, good problem to have. Awesome.
Yeah,
I like that. Why don't you share a memorable moment of one of your film shoots?
this is actually going to make me think,
Make your work.
make me work and think about it. So memorable moments, I would say for me personally, is to watch our older films now because it has actors and actresses that have passed away.
Oh, okay.
So it's very cool to watch these films,
Yeah.
and they will always live through films and memories of people,
Mm,
and they can watch them and they can hear their voice, they can see them still.
that's cool.
So
Yeah.
it's cool to go back and watch these films and still have them be a part of Dead Prairies Productions, and people can watch them, family members or friends, and they're like, that brings them back memories of seeing their friends or family.
Nice. Yeah. Looking back, does it give you a feeling of accomplishment, realizing where you were in your first one compared to, the latest, how big you've gotten and how well your movies are being received and being filmed?
I would say yes. Like
Yeah.
I go back and watch Zamageddon, Swift Nightmares, even the original Gorfers, and it's cool watching them because I still watch them and like, man, that's a cool shot. And
Yeah.
how did we do that? I was like, that's wild that we were able to do that. And you can see the difference in quality too from over
Sure.
the years.
Yeah.
You even see the actors get more comfortable, and like that's cool. And different angles, different shots, better
Yeah.
camera equipment, better audio, and just different settings too. Like that 2014 to 2018 era was kind of mostly in my house. A lot of it was shot in my house. It was cool to see different buildings. I was like, oh, we have a hospital, we have a school, we have all these cool looking things now. I was like, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. I see you're nailing down locations for the newest one now.
We have pretty much a good chunk of them. We're going to Cadillac. We're going to Shaunavon.
Oh yeah.
We'll be in Swift Current. I'm thinking probably Gull Lake even.
Nice.
So we have a fair amount of locations, and some of them I'm pretty excited about because we never filmed in certain buildings before. So I was like, this is gonna be fun. I've thought about it. I was like, I wonder if that's possible to get a building for it, and it's happening. So I was like, oh,
It's
that's
happening.
cool.
That is cool, buddy. Well, congrats on all that. Yeah. So what else you got? Anything else you'd like to say?
I could probably mention it on the one because we're announcing it tonight.
Yeah, and this won't air until
Yeah,
next
so
Monday. So
I'm safe to say it.
yeah.
But we have rights to show Terrifier 3 at the Gull Lake Lyceum Theater, and it's gonna be on opening worldwide date on October 11th. We're getting an opening date, and I've never seen any other Canadian theaters announce it yet.
Get out of here.
So we might be the first Canadian one to announce that we got Terrifier 3 tonight. So I was like, that's cool.
Right.
It's neat to see films like that go to a theater now.
Yeah. And do you think that's the town and the area being familiar with what you do that it's attracting more attention?
I think so. Like even when I showed Terrifier 2, I wasn't sure how the reception would be because it's a lot of people didn't know the first one. They don't know who Art the Clown was really.
Yeah.
But it got a lot of attention. It got a lot of people curious, and some people came out and watched it without watching the first one, or they watched the first one the night before just because they seen the post and they're like, we have to check this out. It sounds wild. It's 18A, so it's crazy stuff on screen, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just wild that we're able to get Terrifier at the Lyceum Theater in Gull Lake, and it's
and like you said, do a full announcement of it.
Yeah, and have it on opening date too. It's like I'm excited because I feel like people might even come down from different cities that might not get Terrifier 3, so we might get a fair amount of people show up.
Cool. So that'll be announced tonight. So when everybody is listening to us, they will have heard it, and if they haven't, now they have.
There you go. Come on, check it out. See if you can handle the gore.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thanks again, Devon. You know what? We'll run this back again next year. I'd love to book you in for when the Silver Scream around that time.
I'm sure there's be a lot more announcements coming.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Devon and his company, Dead Prairies Productions, are set for continued success through 2024 and into 2025. With The Silver Scream slated to be their most ambitious project yet, fans have much to anticipate. To stay updated on Devon's unfolding journey, follow him on social media. And join me next week as I welcome British author Elizabeth Chatsworth. Elizabeth is the author of the Brass Queen series, an award-winning gaslamp fantasy series set in an alternate Victorian era. Her passion for writing about rogues, rebels, and renegades takes readers on a cosmic adventure they are sure to enjoy. The series is brimming with quirky characters and a delightful touch of humor, which shines through in my chat with her. That's next time on the Brewing Fiction Podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. Cheers.